We all share an instinct to guard what we value. When we leave home, we rely on the physical certainty of locks and bolts to ensure our belongings remain exactly where we left them. Shakespeare's Sonnet 48 examines this practical ritual and applies its logic to a far more volatile asset, human affection. We are going to bypass traditional romantic sentiment and deconstruct this poem as a piece of rigorous rhetorical engineering. The poem operates through an extended metaphor, mapping the mundane preparations of a traveler onto the profound anxiety of losing a partner. Through a series of deliberate semantic inversions, Shakespeare demonstrates that no physical barrier can effectively secure a human connection. He spends the first half of the poem building a flawless security system, only to reveal why that system fails the moment it is applied to love. William Shakespeare frequently returned to themes of time and vulnerability, treating the fragility of the human heart with the precision of a structural engineer. Sonnet 48 is part of a 154-poem sequence published in 1609, a collection that serves as an exhaustive study of human relationships. Although this text is 4 centuries old, the specific logic Shakespeare uses to describe insecurity remains remarkably applicable to the modern experience. To understand his conclusion, we will use a guided derivation, stepping through the text quatrain by quatrain to see how the speaker's argument evolves. Pay close attention to the lexicon, the specific vocabulary of locks and treasure, as the focus shifts from the physical world to the emotional one. To appreciate the speaker's eventual crisis, we must first analyze how carefully he constructs his defenses in the opening lines. The poem begins with a practical scenario, a speaker packing his bags and securing his house before starting a journey. The first 4 lines establish our baseline. How careful was I when I took my way, each trifle under truest bars to thrust, that to my use it might unused stay, from hands of falsehood, in sure wards of trust. The speaker's caution is absolute. By using the word trifle, he indicates that even his least valuable items are being heavily guarded. In this physical world, the speaker has total confidence. The truest bars represent an unbreakable guarantee of safety. He defines an inside, the sure wards of trust, where he maintains total authority over his property. He then defines the outside as a space occupied by hands of falsehood, a world characterized by theft and deception. This sharp contrast between falsehood and trust creates a rigid dichotomy. In the speaker's mind, the world is strictly divided into what is locked away and what is at risk. This quatrain establishes a baseline of total physical control. Shakespeare wants the audience to see how much we rely on these barriers before he begins to dissolve them. The second quatrain serves as a pivot, shifting the focus from the speaker's luggage to the actual subject of his anxiety. The text expands to reveal lines 5 through 8, introducing the beloved. But thou, to whom my jewels trifles are. Look at how the word jewels functions here. It forces a sudden recalibration of what we consider valuable. In the presence of the beloved, the speaker's actual jewels are instantly demoted to trifles. The previous scale of value is completely overturned. When measured against a human connection, material wealth loses its importance. The speaker's physical riches essentially become worthless. This leads to the core paradox of line 8, most worthy comfort, now my greatest grief. The beloved is the speaker's ultimate source of joy, yet because they must be left behind, that same person becomes the primary source of his pain. Shakespeare is illustrating a fundamental rule of emotional economics. The more value you find in another person, the more vulnerable you become to their absence. In the third quatrain, the speaker realizes that the security model he used for his luggage cannot be applied to a person. Lines 9 through 12 emphasize this exposure, contrasting the truest bars of the vault with the open vulnerability of the beloved. The speaker describes the beloved as left the prey of every vulgar thief. This language shifts the beloved's status from a partner to an unprotected asset. While the speaker's clothes and gold are behind bars, his most valuable treasure remains completely out in the open. The vulgar thief mentioned here isn't a literal criminal. Instead, this figure represents any external force, whether it's time, distance, or arrival, that could divert the beloved's attention or loyalty. It captures a universal, modern anxiety, the fear that even when we feel secure, the person we love might simply drift away. In this quatrain, the speaker acknowledges that the hands of falsehood he feared earlier are a greater threat to his relationship than they are to his possessions. To conclude the argument, we must look at the final 2 lines of the sonnet structure. The final rhyming couplet provides the logical conclusion, "And thou art stolen, I fear, for truth proves thievish for a prize so dear." The speaker admits that while physical belongings remain locked away, his greatest value is beyond control. This realization highlights the flaw in his original security model. The beloved is an independent entity, not a piece of property. Because a person cannot be owned or imprisoned, a relationship exists entirely outside the realm of physical possession. The poem suggests that the only way to keep a connection is through trust, because physical containment is an impossibility. This reflects a broader theme in Shakespeare's work, acknowledging that human beings have no real power over time or the actions of others. Despite the constant threat of loss, pursuing that connection remains the speaker's most vital endeavor. Sonnet 48 concludes that love and wealth operate on different logic. A relationship's value is found in its inherent vulnerability. It is precious not because it is secured behind bars, but because it is a gift that can never truly be locked away.